So give me just a second. Okay, go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. I go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we have to do the roll call first. Sam?
Sorry. Switching screens. Commissioner Scher? Here. Commissioner McDonald?
Here.
Commissioner Meredith?
Here.
Commissioner McKee-Cant?
Here.
Commissioner Resnick?
Here.
Commissioner Cook?
Here.
And Chair Caption.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we got a flag.
Yes. Takes it off of me.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with my flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's going away now. Okay, next we're going, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Somebody muted or unmuted or raised hand?
So
Oh,
move.
that was Noel, thank you.
Yes.
And a second for adoption of the agenda. Kim raised her hand first. So everybody in favor, do we have to take a roll call vote for that too?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a vote. Sam, you're muted.
Yes, I'm muted during the pledge. Commissioner Scher? Yes. We need to, sorry, we have to hear you verbally too, but I'll let you pass this time. Commissioner McDonald?
Here.
Or Vice Chair McDonald, sorry. Commissioner Meredith?
Here.
Commissioner Cant?
Here.
We're voting on the adoption of the agenda. Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
And Commissioner Resnick?
Yes.
And Chair Caption.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so next, approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, October 4th. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
2 minutes.
Hands.
Okay. So do we have what, 2 sets of minutes? Now or one?
I just have,
There should just be the one.
yeah. Yeah, just
Okay.
one
Oh,
from
okay.
October 4th.
Never mind. Okay. Never mind.
Okay. Would you like to approve the, to motion to approve the minutes? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we approve the minute. Is there a second? Rhonda, does she have to verbally?
Are you
Yes,
having
sir.
a problem unmuting?
Oh, she's having, let me, oh, I'm not the host, but. Shoot.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, Rhonda, okay. Rhonda, you were, did you want to second that
I
motion?
second it.
Thank you. So all in favor of approval of the minutes from October 4th?
Okay, so roll call, Commissioner Scher,
Yes. Approved.
Commissioner Meredith,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee-Cant,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Do we have any public comment, Sam, on matters not listed on the agenda?
Let me just double check our account. Nope, nothing has been received.
All right, then we'll skip along to administrative and regular items. You have
have
something,
none.
Sam?
Nope, we have none.
None. Okay,
None.
we're zooming right along. The art fund report. Oh, we're going to do that in December.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
do that in December, because I didn't have the updated report yet from Kyle, because today is the first day of the month, so October just closed on Friday.
Okay.
I did want to share, so I did have a question from Commissioner Share about past historical sales in the gallery. So I just briefly, I wasn't really going to share it on screen, but I will, if it is now in the Google Drive for commissioners, where we're tracking each artist who appears in the gallery. I think I went back like 7 shows is how far I went back. So if you're interested in seeing how the sales are in the gallery, what that equated to as far as commission, there is a file now in the Google Drive under gallery. And then I'll continue to track that as we close each show, or kind of as the show's in process. So that'll be something that we keep up now. So that information is there if you want to take a look at it. It's kind of nice just to see it in one place.
Thanks, Sam, for doing that. It looked really very interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's helpful. I'm making good friends with the Google Drive now.
If I could,
So-
Sam and Chair Caption, I think I get all excited when you all talk about the revenue and the commissions earned, but I'm going to take you back on a way back time machine mystery ride all the way back 12 years ago. And the reason I'm doing this is I want you all to realize that earning a commission is actually not one of our primary objectives. And I say that because the whole goal was to increase awareness and bringing art to the community through both the gallery and the art walk. And so the fact that we're now earning commission is really a bonus. And I just want to kind of point that way, because we did that with a conscience, because we did not want to try to have the commission steering the selection of art potentially or gallery shows by virtue of whether they would make money. So I just kind of want to say, while we're all really excited with what is coming through, I just want you all not to feel that you're under undue pressure to continue, because we recognize that some of the community benefit is not derived by always focusing on commission. So just a little way back history from 10, 12 years ago. Kim and
Thank
Ron
you, Steve.
coming
Yeah.
from.
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, are we ready to launch into the Art Walk Subcommittee? There's a lot here. Rhonda will be, I think, or Kim or Rhonda? Rhonda. Yeah.
Rhonda.
Okay. Well, we had a busy week, didn't we, Jim and Cindy?
Yes.
If you haven't seen, Muse with Attitude is in. And then the day after that, La Library went in at Community Center, and I think they look great. Jim and Cindy were at both installations, and Kim came by for a little bit during Muse. But it was really great to have both of them along, and we talked about a lot of different things while we were watching the Public Works guys work really hard, and they did a fabulous job. The way Ryan handles that forklift is amazing. I thought it was going to be about a 2-hour installation, but I don't think it was a half an hour, you guys. So, and then on the agenda this month there are 3. Are you going to do a screenshot on those? Thank you, Sam.
Yes.
So the first one up, I think, is Richard Stark's The Love Wine. We looked at it last month, but we couldn't vote. So today we can. I don't know if anybody has any other questions about it. We're thinking of the pad where Link of Humanity is right now. And I'm working with Dennett from Paris to get the Link of Humanity and Liberation removed by the time this one comes. So I don't know, do I call for a vote or does Cindy?
Cindy
Okay.
would. if we're ready to vote or if there are any questions.
Okay, I think we're ready. Is everybody ready for, there we go. Okay. Are we ready for a vote? Let's go ahead and vote on Love Wine sculpture from by Richard Starks. All in favor?
Or we have a
Or no,
motion,
you have to do the
motion in a second. Yeah,
motion. Okay,
Yeah.
I move that we, so I can move, I move that we accept the sculpture for the artwork.
I second.
okay. Commissioner Share,
Aye.
Commissioner Meredith,
Aye.
Commissioner Cant,
I'm seeing that being a very popular place for photos being taken in town. The minute it's up, yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
So with that approval, Richard is scheduled for tentatively for July 9th, and I'll confirm that with you guys if anybody wants to come by.
Wait,
And-
July?
Pardon me?
When?
January,
What did I say? November 9th.
November
Sorry.
9th. Okay,
And Sam, I'll be sending you an email. He needs the forklift to get it out of his truck. It weighs 300 pounds and
okay.
so on.
Is the other, when is the other one leaving? Danette's piece.
Well, I'm waiting to hear. We've been in communication. We've talked, and I sent her an email over the weekend that the plan was to bring in the new sculpture. She originally thought she was going to fly back, but she decided that that was a lot of expense to take down the sculpture when other people could do it. So she has a plan. The rain delayed some of it, but it obviously the Love Wine can't go in unless hers is out.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it with her,
Okay, great.
and she'll take Liberation at the same time.
Okay.
And I forgot to mention the Who Rescued Who, I believe left from Colorado today. So it's on its way. I don't know how long it takes. Lori's going to send me the tracking number. I haven't gotten that yet, but that'll be coming up soon as well. And that's going to go where it was before. Then we have two submissions from Ivan McLean. One of them, the first one up is Invention.
I'm trying to get the picture up, sorry.
Then I could just keep talking. It's where Pythagoras seems to be the best place for it. We talked about other locations. He doesn't think that the sap is, he said he could clean it up off of this one without too much trouble. So he wasn't worried about it at all. It's pretty abstract. It's in a location that I think it's in a good location. It's of size, it's tall. And it moves. It's not easily moved from what he tells me. I think it's something that we would look at when he installs it. So any questions about that one? Cindy?
Okay. I'm muting and unmuting. Do I have a motion to accept Invention by artist Ivan McLean?
I'll make that motion.
Robin. And a second? Judy.
Oh, Judy.
Judy just barely beat out Noel. Okay, so let's vote.
Commissioner Share,
Aye.
Commissioner Meredith,
Aye.
Commissioner McKee Cant,
Aye.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Super. So
And
the next thing I'm working with, the gallery that owns Matt, Matt Devine, who has 1200 Degrees on the corner of Washington and Mulberry. And they assure me that it will be out soon. Ivan is going to install, subject to the approval we just got, Invention on November, I think it's November 13th, November 15th, Monday, November 15th. And he'll take Pythagoras out at the same time. And then 1200 Degrees will come out. I'm waiting to hear, but certainly I'm fairly certain it'll be before Thanksgiving. And subject to the approval of the Sphere, which you're about to see, then Ivan would be the Sphere would be located in that position. If you agree.
Rhonda, could you just refresh so you're talking about the sculpture that is currently sort of by the Washington Mulberry, it's kind of the Villaggio Hill.
Yes.
Just want to make sure I have my bearings.
Yep.
I will also share with you all that there is lighting to that one. So that particular site could allow for some modification to allow lighting from the Sphere if that was something we might have to work with the marketplace. But there are lights to it right now.
I'm not sure that that's working. I'm not often in town when it's dark, but I don't recall seeing the light on 1200 Degrees when I have
It may not be, and it may very well be that there are no light bulbs in the thing, but I'm just saying there's wiring to the area. So dependingly, it is a location that I would say we could probably get lit. And this picture is, in reading the packet, is what made me think of it.
That's awesome. If it's already there, it'll benefit the sculpture, even if it isn't coming from within.
Right.
He would make this piece for us. He'd make it in any color that he does, which is red, blue, orange, yellow. And he would make it, he thinks 5, 6, or 7 feet. So, and then there's differences in prices. If you look at the pictures, there's different structural components to the Sphere. And even though they're structurally all very, very sound, and he's confident of that, some are thicker, maybe some are harder to put together in that. So, and I think we can decide within the committee which particular design we like. But anyway, that price fluctuates based on whether it's a lighter weight looking piece or has more of the heavier look like the yellow one did. So I don't know if you have any questions about that.
Are you leaning toward a particular color?
Well, his most popular colors are the orange and the red. And I don't know about anybody else, but I sort of see the red. But he said the blue was the least popular, and that would probably be, in my opinion, the one I would like the least. But orange or red or yellow. Does anybody have any strong feelings about that? Yeah.
Well, we've had a couple of reds there. The current one, 1200 Degrees, and there were some red components to reverse Prometheus that was there before. So I would maybe opt for the yellow as a different color for being up on that hill. But I'd be curious what other people think.
I would think yellow or even the silver, but the one that has the wider strips, I know it would make it heavier and probably more expensive, but just to make sure it was noticed up there.
I like the heavier
It'd be
strips.
great.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I like the yellow. I think it's kind of like a sun or a moon.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it going to be installed low to the ground like that one picture, or will it have some kind of elevation?
It's bolted to the pad in the circumference, so it's on low to the ground.
But it's up on the top of the hill
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that installation, so it's kind of raised.
I think the bigger the better. I
Yeah.
think we go for the 7-foot one.
Yellow.
I agree.
I
I've
agree
seen
too.
a lot of nods, bigger, better.
Yeah, I agree too, especially lit. It'll be so beautiful. My thought would be the red or the yellow also.
the, if it matters, Steve, which it probably doesn't, but I think the 7-foot, which yes, would, I'm sure show better, especially with the thicker members, probably will be the least likely size to be sold. Please eat my words, but that's a really big sculpture. Just imagining it. So I'm for any of it. I see that I agree that bigger is better. If anything else is a consideration, then that's my only comment about it.
Does that put it in a really astronomical price range, like $40,000, like some of the
No.
pieces we've had? Okay.
I think it's around 18,000, somewhere in that range, depending on.
Okay.
A couple thoughts for you. One that is on a flat pad with an elevation, so it does have some view. I think you certainly, we noticed with Prometheus that we got a little tall and it gets into the trees. The 7-foot's not going to be a problem there. And I think you could certainly do something that indicates additional sizes are available.
Sure.
But I think, I don't know that I would do the smallest because it might get lost up there. The 7 seems impressive to me if he's willing to do one.
Yes.
And
yes.
I will never go wrong with somebody selecting maize as their color choice.
Maze. I do have, if somebody purchases a smaller one because they saw ours on the art walk, is there an official commission that we get, or is it just up to the artist to tell? It seems like what's the real deal on commissions for that?
Well, the protocol is we should get a commission if he sells one off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time we don't hear about that. Sometimes I hear back or somebody calls me and about another sculpture and they say, oh yeah, I just bought one from Ivan or whoever. But so often we find out anyway, but basically, Cindy, there's no way to track it. A lot of artists will just refer to us. And so I end up talking to them anyway, but it's really discretionary on their part.
Okay, so it's not part of the agreement, the artist agreement.
I think it's pretty hard to regulate something like that.
Right.
It's really
Actually,
hard.
what I would say, Cynthia, it is in framework in the agreement. The problem is if they don't go through us, through the contact. So in other words, if somebody follows up, calls us or emails us, then we know there's a lead and we can bring that. If they just happen to go to the artist directly and the artist doesn't share, and I'm never going to insinuate that an artist may or may not do that, but then that's where Rhonda's pointing out, we don't know unless the artist, what I would say is the artists that have generally enjoyed working with us, I think generally treat us well because they know that, we'll rotate and work with them. And I think that kindred spirit works both ways.
Okay, well, that's fair-ish enough for this. Okay, so Sphere, have we voted on, let's see, just general discussion. Okay, we're not, so at this point, we're going to decide about Sphere as a concept, but not finalize the size, the color, or the little design of it. Is that what's happening?
Isn't the subcommittee going to make those decisions? We're just approving the sculpture, right?
Correct. That's, yeah. So, okay. So does
It
somebody
sounded
want?
like there was consensus on yellow and bigger, so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So
So
you would.
7-foot and yellow with the heavier members sounds like to me what everybody is agreeing on.
Okay. So should we put that to a vote then?
Yes.
One last
Okay.
meeting necessary for the subcommittee.
Thank you, Steve.
But we have so much fun. So is there a motion for Sphere? Oh, I see Noel.
I'm gonna get this one. I motion that we move forward
Yeah.
with this piece.
Okay, how about a second? Second. Oh, Robin. So let's go ahead and vote.
Commissioner Share,
Aye.
Commissioner Meredith.
Aye.
Commissioner Cant,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Aye.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
So-
now,
Sam, were you able to give us a screenshot on the Jack Chandler piece or not?
Oh, yes. Let me pull that up. I'm sorry. Just 1 second.
While she's doing that, let me just say that looks great there. I love it.
Oh, super. Thank
I
you.
would
think-
suggest when the plaque comes in that they left the post and it's right in front of the sculpture.
Yeah,
So move it one side or the other, but looks great there.
sure.
I like it.
and the
Great.
plaque is on the way.
Yeah,
I
Cindy's
know,
the
good
black
for you.
baby.
Cindy's in charge.
Yay. All
Oh,
of
and
those
Robin-
are actually, except the ones we just voted on, but the others that are like Muse and that one and, and Who Rescued Who? All
Yeah.
of those that Cindy ordered. So while Sam's pulling this up, this is another piece of Jack Chandler's that the estate has also offered us. We can't vote on it. I just wanted you to see it, and if you have any comments that would help us. My thought, I like the piece. It was over at MacArthur Place in Sonoma for quite a while. It's called Almost Red, but over time, the books are no longer, they were just sort of sporadically painted the color red. And there's kind of a pun he's intending on the almost red. Some of them are red, some of them are not. And it's a bigger piece. Cindy and Jim and I were talking about it. I think my suggestion would be that if you decide you want it, that we put it in the flower bed outside of Sam's office where twixt and between the two bunnies were. It would have to be in the ground. I'd asked her to check that out and make sure that it's stable. It was in the ground in Sonoma, but it was kind of against some shrubbery. So we just want to make sure that it's stable. It's one thing about Jack's pieces, they're super heavy. So anyway, this one could come on. We'll vote on it next week or next month if you like it. And if you want to share any comments about it, then I'm all ears.
So we're gonna have 3 libraries around the community center.
Yeah, one actual. If we like it. They're not big, bold sculptures. And they certainly do fit kind of a civic spirit. So.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's the future. The future is coming. And then are we a general discussion about the lighting of the Art Walk sculptures? Rhonda, do you want to talk briefly about like the history of that? And
Well, Steve and Ken, I don't know if you recall, Gordon was really fixed on his sculptures all being lighted, which is why I think the Bellagio location is, and because he had a sculpture there, and also at Community Center, that one was lit. And where Chaos is, did we ever get lighting? I thought we had lighting coming from the roof on that one. So the point is, it's been talked about early on. I think, as I recall, I think the intention was to light more of them, but we just never did. And there are reasons, certainly reasons for that. So when the art subcommittee, when we were talking about the sphere, Cindy brought up lighting, and so we talked a little bit about that. But and I think we decided that it would be a good topic for discussion at our meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think all of us were, I mean, just as you saw in those photos, we're all impressed by that yellow night, the photograph of the yellow sphere at night. I mean, it just is like, kind of burns in the memory. I see Steve has a hand up, a yellow hand.
I get to give you, again, a little reader's history. Chaos Pamplona does have lighting. It's from Angled Lighting, and it's and we did design the sculpture at the community center. One of the challenges that we face is you have to remember that many of the pads are courtesy pads. They're provided at the discretion of the property owner. So early on, one of the considerations was that if we were going to require these particular property owners to add to the cost of adding electrical or making it available, that would potentially decrease some of the interest in some of them working with us. So having said that, what I would say is it's entirely possible, if this body wants to look at spending money and lighting some of the potential pads, we could evaluate which ones might have an easier potential to be lit from the town controlled points. So I'd be happy to work, but just sharing you, that's a little bit of the background there, because we've started a handful, and actually the Villaggio folks they actually paid for that pad at their own expense, and the lighting. Many of our early pads we had to put in ourselves because we were still so new, and a lot of the business owners weren't quite sure what to do. So that's just a little history, and I think we need to go back and look. There may be some that have the potential for different lighting installation. For example, some of them that are in proximity to a street light that has a light socket on the upper, we may be able to, and I don't want to commit public works crews to stuff without them kicking me first, but there may be the opportunity for some type of a lighting, directional lighting that can be mounted to the street light that would aim down. I certainly think, for example, the location where Polly is, I'm at the corner there, Fennell and Yount could be the potential. Again, I think we would just need to really walk the pads, see what we have, and see which ones, make some notes about whether they're accessible, what it would take. So I'd certainly be happy to, on a dry day, go walk with the art committee and kind of just take a look. I mean, Kim, does that sound familiar to you with some of the history going back? And Rhonda, I mean, that's sort of, where we blossomed, because we didn't initially have an inventory approaching 20 pads.
Yes, correct. It's very hard to get electricity to some of those pads, and get cooperation. There's nowhere to pull it in a lot of cases. There's nowhere to pull the electricity from. So getting it installed in the beginning is good.
The solar power.
A lot of those little solar things are not very reliable.
And they're not very bright.
No.
Comparison, but we do get a lot of sun here.
But there's so many trees, we end up with not having a location to put them a lot of times. But each location is different.
What I can say is, I would say, Robin, to your point, there may be a handful, because we've used some solar installations for those traffic control devices that show your speeds when they're coming in. But Kim brings up a good point. A lot of the pedestrian interface also has tree cover. And then we just need to sort of get in. And I think what I would also say is there is some reason, the solar and battery, because you can also do battery, they're improving. So again, partially, I would say it depends on what we're trying to do. If we're really trying to make sure that we have, strong LED, then we probably want to stay with, electric. And I do think there's a couple locations, and there may even be some that we could have temporary, where if we could figure out how to get some conduits under the sidewalk, we may be able to do something that is plugged into the streetlight poles. That's why I say there's some opportunities there. But and I just think I haven't walked the art walk with that perspective in a while. So I think it would be a great opportunity, and maybe just time to revisit, put notes down next to some of the pads and to see where they might go.
Okay.
Both
see-
Pythagoras and 1200 degrees have lights, and the property owners have failed to maintain them in a way that works.
Right. And I would also say perhaps we haven't been as dutiful coming out of COVID on that. Remind me of the other one location, Kim.
Pythagoras
The
and 1200
Condos,
degrees are
Right.
both lit.
Pythagoras is where,
Burgundy Commons.
Burgundy Commons.
But that was Rossi, and I don't know who's taken over his position, but I would go and reset the lights and set them up and make sure they were pointing in the right direction, but they're broken and landscapers knock them over and people knock them over.
Okay.
We also
Well,
have light at Lake Forest along the.
There's electricity there, yeah.
But the corner, well, Dale Rieger's pieces always benefit from lighting. And the two pieces we have there now are not lit. And I've never gotten a call on either piece, which is unusual. I think people call after they see it at night. And they're pretty reasonably priced. So that's an example of, and I know we don't want to cater it to each particular sculpture, but that's an example of sculptures that benefit from lighting.
right. Is Jay not allowing lighting in the one location, Rhonda, or do we just need to reach out to him?
It's not there
It's
anymore.
not there anymore.
Oh,
Well, there's never been light all the way out at the corner.
no, we've
No.
never had that one.
No,
No, we never have.
no, for
Um,
either of Dale's pieces. The other piece of Dale's is at the end of Bellagio Vineyard, but before the bridge, that little pocket corner. There's no electricity out there either.
Now that one, I'm just going to say, might, because of the street lights running, if I could figure out a way to get under or over. I say it that way because if I can do it safely and then come down. So that's why, again, looking at where some are. But what we may find is we may need to identify a handful that can be potentially lit.
mhm.
And then as we're
Okay.
evaluating art, that could be perhaps a factor that you consider if that works for that site or not.
And the expense.
True. But I mean, part of it would be if we do some of this, especially if I can get a conduit underneath the sidewalk big enough for us to run extension cords, that's going to be our most economical, because then we can plug whatever temporary lighting, whether it goes inside or around with, some of the more little higher quality garden, aimed lights. So public works guys can do a pretty good job with that if I can get them something in proximity. That's where, if it's close to us and on public property, where we're going to have the most flexibility.
Oh,
Oh,
Steve,
go ahead. Go
no,
ahead, Jim.
Quick question. So the all the lighting we have for our Festival of the Lights, that all comes from the light poles, or the source?
No, most
The
does.
string lights.
Most does. As far as the trees, some of it actually will come from the private property owner too.
Oh, okay.
Most does, most of that, but they're also hung high, so they're coming out of they don't block so that's why you see the upper.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying there's some potential. we certainly, I would say there's some capacity for down at the Hopper Creek Pocket Park. There at the, there's a street pole there, and we actually may have an outlet on the other side of the bridge that I can take a look at that could come under the bridge and come up around. So, I mean, that's why we just need to go look. Now that
Yeah.
we may have a conflict during the holiday season and it wouldn't be lit during that, depending on what the electrical capacity is at each site. But
well, interesting you should mention that. I'm wondering if even if we do have lighting to sculptures, whether they should be lit during the holiday period when the town is lit up, would they interfere with or detract from the tree and pole lighting?
I'd have to go look at the individual installations to make that. Part of me thinks, for example, the sphere that you were talking about earlier today, to me, I think it would look like a large ornament.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
it potentially, and I know Kim and I and Sam have already been talking about, and I'll let Kim explain, we think the current installation in the Bellagio Vineyard, she's shared with us that she can change the colors to make it all be, red and green. So I think there's some things, but to your point, there may be some that we don't know. I mean, I don't think we've ever had any issues with Chaos Pamplona or the Yountville Community Center detracting from the lighting. Sam, have you in that regard? I mean, there's a lot going on at the community center when we get there. But
and even, I mean, when you discuss lighting, I think things are not really well lit and like way bright at night, because you'll tend to get, like, for example, with between the community center and the hotel, we can't really blow Chaos Pamplona and light it at night, because it would potentially cause issues with the people surrounding it, whether it's homes or businesses. So things are not typically, under spotlight at night. They're just ambient lit and making it still look like it's something interesting. So I don't think it would necessarily be an interference, but something just to be conscious of is, picking the appropriate lighting and how we position it and things like that.
Well, let's move along, and I think it sounds like Rhonda and Judy and I will be taking a walk with Steve without umbrellas, and hopefully we'll. Is that okay, Steve? If we'll make a date with you and walk around and look at the pads and stuff.
Yep, that works.
Okay, that sounds like a fun thing to do. So what's next? Gallery. Jim.
So Sam, we do still have just the one Brad Holmes sale, right?
We have two now. We sold one on Friday. I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Oh, great. Okay.
Was it a big one, Sam?
No, it was the Eagle one near the restroom. So it's kind of tall and long. So we sold those two now. And then we're going to be, Danielle and I were talking today, we'll trying to put the sign out more. Propping the doors open really isn't possible in the rain, but somehow we don't have a lot of foot traffic in this type of weather anyways, but trying to get some more traffic in there.
Okay, that's great. So Brad Holmes is the current exhibit, and then we have our youth, used to be called children's, but now our youth art exhibit for ages 5 through 18 in December. And then we have the Monet's Garden by Sam Chapman in January through beginning of April. So either Cindy or Rhonda, anything you want to mention? We've got some things in the work, but nothing to present in terms of approval for future exhibits quite yet. So Cindy, Rhonda, anything you want to add?
I have nothing to add.
No, Jim, you've been doing a great job to keep artists coming, and it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully in a month we'll have some more, at least another exhibit to share with you. So that's it for gallery. Unless there are any questions. And we can, Cindy, shall we move to literary?
Yeah, I do have one question. The deadline to enter is November 14th, and we only have 3 entries. So Sam, typically, what do we just extend the deadline? Is that the?
If we have to, we can. It actually just went out on Peach Jar today, even though I put it in there 2 weeks ago. So parents got an email today. That's when I got mine.
Okay.
And then we're going to send an email blast out to our Parks and Rec mailing list as well, like all of our summer camp kids and everything. So
Okay.
we'll see where we're at on, as it gets closer. We have a few days. So, and then if we
Okay.
have to extend it, we can, but we'll do a bigger push.
And is there any reaching out to high schools?
Yeah, actually, when I did the Peach Jar, that goes out, I chose the high schools as well. So those
Super.
students, parents all got them, but I could do some targeted emails to teachers.
Okay. Okay, great. So not to worry that we only have 3.
No, I
Okay,
don't think so.
next, literary, Jim.
Okay,
Again.
nothing new to share now at this point. We have a couple of things for next summer and fall that are in the works. But nothing over the short term. So nothing to report.
Thank you. And how about marketing and PR, which is now headed up by Noel Resnick? You're muted.
Judy and Robin and I talked about it, and in terms of chairing the committee, and after we had a conversation, I volunteered, and so that's how that happened. Because I believe this meeting we were going to discuss who the chairs would be. So we've got that covered now. And also, as you all know, I believe you probably all know now because Jim sent out a nice email. The Shop the Yountville Art Walk is out in the Chamber gift guide at this point. And it looks really great. It's one of the very top of the page entries. They just sent out an email blast today, and we're really pleased with the way that came out. Thank you, Sam. I know you worked tirelessly on that one. And just one quick question about that is, will we be able to remove that sidebar ad?
Yeah, I'm still working on it. They're very unresponsive. So I called today and left a message, and then I also got through on email. So I'm still trying to resolve that. Yeah.
Great, because it looks just so beautiful. Would we be able to also is advertising considered the first page when you click on it right away before it even opens? You see an advertising for the magazine, the digital magazine. What is it? How do you pronounce it? It's JOO.
JUMAG?
Yeah, that's the first page that comes up. If we lose advertising, are we able to lose that too? So all we do is go right from the artwork for the cover and then go right to the pieces of art?
I don't think that happened to me, but I'll double check it.
And it's a little different on everything, how it presents on the phone and then on the website. But on the website, it has the stripy ad down the side of every page.
Yes, that's what I'm working on.
I
That
know. Thank you.
bothers me more, Noel. The intro from whatever company that is, it's black, and I tend to expect that when you.
Oh, it's
Right.
just when it's loading. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Yep,
When
yep.
it's loading.
We can live with that one. If it can go, that's great. But if that's not on our wish list. Our real wish list is the side stripes.
Just so you all
that
know
have-
what we're talking about, I'll share it really quick. So this is the live holiday guide, and we're talking about this stripe on the side. So I'm trying to get that removed.
And then the pages go by. It looks really nice, Sam.
You
It's
can
just
even
really
pull it
beautiful.
from the corner, and it looks like a little catalog.
Nice. It's very easy to find too. I just Googled it and
Yeah.
popped right up.
It's really
It's all
beautiful.
over. It's all over the Yountville Arts website, which is really nice. It's on the home page. It's on the Art Walk page, and it's going to get a lot of visibility, which is nice. So that's happening. And then, as you all know, and almost every one of you are attending, which is really great. Visit Napa Valley Yountville Dreaming is this Thursday night, which we're really excited about. And Rhonda and and Michael were able to get one of our Yountville hearts in there. So I think we talked about this at the last meeting. So we have a beautiful Yountville heart as part of the presentation when you walk into the visitor center. Rhonda, do you just want to talk about where it is? And did we get our little plaque up?
Yes, well, I dropped it off to her, I think it was Friday. In fact, I know it was. She was there, I handed it to her. She was happy to have it. I don't know where, she didn't want any feedback as to where it might go. So I'm not sure where it might go, but I think with the magnet, she might even be able to stick it on the heart if she chose to do that. I don't know. But anyway, it's right as you walk into the visitor center. So it's really, you can't miss it. So it looks great.
And it is for sale. It is for sale.
Yeah.
And they're aware of that and they support that. So it's just right off. Right. Well, it was not on our art walk. We opted to take an additional heart that was not yet secured any place in town. We thought we'd make it a little bit easier. So we had that one rather than pulling up one that we already have. So that's there. And we're excited about that. And then also what we are going to do, I don't know if you've been in the Visit Napa Valley Welcome Center. They have, when you first go in on the, you see right away on one of their walls is a giant digital wall. I'd say it's much more than a screen. It's a wall where they show beautiful pictures of Napa Valley. And what they're going to do for us in addition to the heart is, at one point during COVID, we produced a virtual art walk video that was in Forbes digital magazine. So we've taken that video and we submitted it to them and they loved it. Some of the pieces have been sold. It's not absolutely current, but it has such a beautiful sense of place of Yountville and how our art is such a significant part of the town and how it's really a sculpture garden. So what they're going to do on their giant digital wall is they're going to make a big slide. And in one corner of the slide, the entire video will play. And then surrounding the slide, there'll be information about the gift guide, the digital catalog for the art walk. There'll be information about, there'll also be information about the holiday catalog. Our printable map will be on there. The audio tour will be up there. And then what's really nice is they've arranged to put a QR code up there. So when people are visiting the visitor center, they can photograph the QR code and it will take them directly to our Yountville Arts website and they can read all about Yountville Arts. They can read about the gallery and all the events we have going on. So it'll be a real interactive piece. So, and that'll be moving around with other pieces of Yountville. I know we've supplied them with other video clips and things that we've done for the chamber. So it'll be very Yountville centric, and in addition to always representing Napa Valley.
Can I ask
Hi.
a question?
Yes.
Okay, so you said QR code, and the only one I know is the one associated with the art walk. So you said that there's going to be a QR code that gets into the whole universe of Yountville Arts. So it's a different QR
Yes,
code, right?
that they've created. That's what I've been
Okay.
led to believe.
Okay.
And so, and it goes back to our site, which will be really nice because then they can see everything Yountville Arts, all the things that are on our websites.
Okay.
So, so I'm really pleased about that.
Kim
and
has
that's
a question.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
So
Kim.
has a
the welcomes, am I on mute? The Welcome Center is now in the town center, is that correct? Okay,
Yes, it's
And
right
it
across from
says-
the Archer. Right. It's right front and center, right from the sidewalk.
okay, and it says it starts at 4. Does it go on? Do we have to be there at 4?
It's
Or, I
really
mean, is
more
it
or
like
less of
a-
it's an open house, but I am
Okay.
imagining all the town council people have been involved, been invited. The mayor's been invited. I don't know who their mailing list is. I didn't get involved with the chamber aspect of it. I just wanted to make sure all of
Okay.
our art commissioners, all of our parks and rec people were there.
It doesn't
And-
have like a 4 to 5:30 kind of thing. It
Well,
just
I'm
says 4
thinking,
o'clock.
you know,
It
yeah,
does.
I'm thinking it's probably best to come closer to 4. Only if you want to be there when people have comments. I don't
Okay.
know what the program is that they've created, but I'm assuming that Mayor Dunbar will certainly speak, and I don't know who else.
Okay.
As I said, I pretty much just interface with this for the most part on behalf of Yountville Arts. So,
Okay.
and I can't imagine it's going to go any later than when they close, which I'm assuming is 5:30 or 6, but I don't really know.
Okay.
But feel free also to go back any other time too, just to check it out.
So Noel, are you suggesting we bring our Yountville Arts name tags to this event?
You certainly can. I see no reason why you shouldn't, because it'll be lovely. I think it's really important for all of us to interface with everybody at the Napa Valley Visitor Center, Welcome Center, excuse me, because it's very important to for us to be represented, because I think we're very much a part of everything, everything Yountville, everything Napa Valley, and we want to share that with everyone. So I think it's a wonderful idea for all of us to be identifiable, because I know they're very pleased that we're all coming.
I have a
Noel,
question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
is
Sorry,
this
go ahead,
a-
Rhonda.
oh, sorry. This is just us. It's not a spousal thing, right? I mean,
You
Right.
can bring a spouse if you want to.
oh, okay.
I see no problem with that. They've been very gracious. I just wanted to be sure each of us was included, and I see no problem with it whatsoever. Please bring your significant other, spouse,
First wife.
friends. Oh, that's a spouse.
Yes, it is.
Miss Briss?
A little
I have a-
background is Visit Napa Valley has been doing a monthly profile of each community. So this is the Yountville month. So there'll be a lot of focus on Yountville, the council organizations involved with Yountville, the chamber. So that just to give you. And if you come earlier, then you're more likely to make sure that there is wine and the small snacks available.
Yep, that too.
And bring your
Judy.
horse.
Noel, this
Judy
is,
has a question.
yeah, I had my hand up, sorry. And this is a side note. Just one of the clients I've been working with and doing a lot of tastings with is LG Signature Kitchen down in Napa, and they bring people in, their best designers and builders from all over the world. If you can give me a copy of that reel, they would play it on their digital wall. They have a tremendous digital wall, and everybody is very active on it.
Mm,
On all social media, and they would love to have that. They only have like a couple, John Charles Bosset and some other ones. So that
of
would,
course. Yeah,
Cool.
that would be great, because one of the things I wanted to ask someone, I've been out of town the last week, and I've already sent them a few more things today when I got back this afternoon. But one of the things I did wanted to ask them is if we can have that entire slide, or whatever it is that they're presenting on their digital wall, if we can use it. Is that what you're talking about, Judy, getting
yeah,
that
they
whole
have
presentation?
probably, I'm going to say 20 spaces. It's LG, you know, LG, the
Yes, absolutely.
Life's good.
their high-end signature stuff. It competes with Wolf and all those, and they bring designers and builders from all over the world every week, 2 seminars a week. And it's a
Wow.
phenomenal place if you guys ever want to come down there and see it, but they actually use stuff. And so they would give us like a running, they've only like 4
Wow.
films from wineries and whatnot, and they would love this to have it running constantly so people can see Yountville and get excited and come visit.
Oh, that would be
Wow.
fabulous.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. I have a question too, for Noel. Is there a way to update the gift guide as as Danette Landry is leaving and Law Library and Muse and the others are coming?
Don't you just know Sam took care of that?
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can. As they come and go, we
As
can
they
take
come and
things
go.
out and put them back in.
Okay.
So, and
Sounds-
after the holiday, I believe we would like, we'll see what the holiday brings us. But regardless, as Steve said, it's not all about selling. But I think it's a wonderful tool to share. Just to see all our pieces. It's really beautiful. And then after the holiday, we can change the catalog with different background art, and it could just be our catalog.
Right.
Or we could theme it differently throughout the year, but probably we'll just change it to a regular catalog so Sam can get some of her other work done.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything
seasonally.
else? Judy, your hand's still up. Do you still have a?
Sorry,
you have
let
another?
me take it down.
Okay.
It's really hard to hear you guys on this too. I've been looking for a volume.
Oh, I don't know.
I think volume's controlled by your own device.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
also, I reached out to Napa Valley Life. They've indicated interest in what we're doing with Shop the Yountville Art Walk. So I'll get them all the information. I would like it to show up in their calendar section with a photo and all that. We'll see. Other than that, they can put it out in their social media. So I'm going to get them all that material. And let's see, I reached out to Howard Yoon because I know he was very generous in an article he wrote in July talking about Polly and Raven and how we were selling our pieces. And it was some really nice coverage. So I thought he'd be interested in knowing that we were having a Shop the Yountville Art Walk. And I let him know that we would all be there at Visit Napa Valley, and we hope that he would be attending if he had any questions or wanted to talk to Sam or to Rhonda or to any of us about it. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he will be there. So should he ask anybody questions about it, that's why. Let's see. Another quick question, Sam, in the Google Drive, just because everybody in the committee is trying to push things out on their own too whenever they can, or just reach out should the opportunity arise. The beautiful flyers that you and Danielle and all the artwork that you're presenting for the gallery, just for whatever event we're having, is that going into the Google Drive where any one of us can pull a file out, or is that possible that could happen? You're on mute.
I will double check.
can read lips.
If they're not all there, we'll get that current for you. Yes.
Yeah, and exactly where they'll live. If they'll live in PR and marketing or live in their category, whether it would be art walk or gallery, just so we know where to look at it.
Okay, yeah, usually the way that I file them is with the appropriate thing. So like every artist in the gallery has a file and it'll be in that file. So we'll get that all updated.
Oh, great. Okay, that's
Yeah.
terrific. And I think that's about it. And also one other thing, Robin, and I believe, if I don't get this right, forgive me, because I just read it recently. Robin sent me an article that she's been working on with Kim and with Rhonda. Is that correct? Everybody? Oh, good. And in any event, it's a lovely article about the art walk and kind of the history of the art walk. And one of the things that was really lovely about it is it was about art. It was about what inspires you. And I know that you, Robin, were looking for some more detail, and we can talk all about that. But I want to let everybody know that if you have any thoughts, we're going to fine tune it. And I actually think it's just about there, whether you want to put names in, just how much detail, but it's a beautiful esoteric piece. And I really quite liked it. It was very different. And I think it definitely, we should find a place for it where we can reach out and have somebody print the story, whether it's the Yountville Sun or Napa Valley Life or Napa Sonoma, or I'm not sure exactly where, but we'll be talking to all of you about it if you have any thoughts, because I know we all have different connections where it might go. So
My
that's
thoughts were, if it was local, then we would definitely work with Rhonda's expertise and Steve's too, make sure the names and the dates and things are correct. I couldn't write to that because I wasn't there. I haven't
Right, I know.
some names. But the other piece I did add Kim more about art and emotion and attachment through it and
Yeah.
inspiration. And that could be a piece for even, other magazines, from Better Homes and Gardens to anybody that we could get to pick it up. Of course, it would-
Exactly. It's just,
That's the article that I liked. Yeah.
yeah.
Very
It-
nice.
It was very, I mean, we had our press release, which had a purpose, and then there was this article that was just more touchy-feely. And it was
Very
really
nice.
terrific. It was really terrific.
titled.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it, but I was on the East Coast all week. So, but I wanted to bring it up because it's quite lovely.
and
Is
that
is
one-
it possible to put that maybe even in a draft form on the Google Drive so we can access it, or? It's not?
I don't see why
Okay.
not.
And you'll put it under what, PR and marketing?
Mhm.
Committee? Okay,
it's
great.
called Art has a seat at the table. So that's where the idea.
Nice.
Once
There we
it's
go.
finished. Yeah.
Once it's finished, and I'm always crediting you for that one. You're going to see that one a lot, Robin, and the rest of the commission, because
Good.
I think that's a really I think that's something really special, and it really makes sense for the town of Yountville. And I think we're going to find a way to plug it in after the holidays. We're already plugging it in, but I think as a standalone marketing
Well,
tagline.
Robin is discussing she's texting her trademark lawyer as we speak.
That's
for-
okay.
For copywriting that phrase.
And I had another idea while we were talking about lighting up the art. I think, there's another slogan there that in Yountville, even the art gets lit.
Yes.
Do you see
Lit.
Steve's thumbs up there?
Lit.
She's got
So-
a million of them.
Yeah.
One-liners.
So anyhow, that's what we
seat
got.
at the table, TM from proceeds to Robin Can. Okay.
So
and
thank-
now
thanks
we're-
again, everybody, for coming. You
Yeah.
will be coming on Thursday night, and name tags are a great idea. Thank you, Jim.
Okay. How about
And
now
that's what
you're
we've got.
Now you're still on Noel, or is Art Sip and Stroll, Rhonda or Noel?
Rhonda.
Right? Rhonda.
I'll let Rhonda start with this one.
Start.
I need a drum roll. I should.
Yeah.
Here, I'll bring my flag back in. This is exciting.
So the question has been, who will be the artist that is the front face of Art Sip and Stroll? We worked out pretty much the formula last year. We went to, in the prior Art Sip and Stroll with Guy Buffet. We kind of worked through the growing pains. And this year, after going through the artist choices that we felt were in front of us, knowing that we had to get going on it fairly soon, we had talked earlier amongst ourselves about making the art walk the face of Art Sip and Stroll. So we came back to that, especially with the marketing push that's on the art walk right now. And so we would like to move forward on using the art walk as the front face of Art Sip and Stroll. We need to explore it more. I was gone, Noelle's been gone. So there's a lot to be discussed, how we handle the poster. We've talked about two different things. We could put all the images on a poster or not. We could put one at a time on the poster and maybe change the color background. So we might have 4 or 6 different poster versions, same backdrop, but a different color and a different sculpture around it. So still new concepts for Art Sip and Stroll. In the gallery, we've moved probably more on the gallery concept if we can do it. We've not talked to any artists about this, but so this is our idea. But the concept would be a combination of three-dimensional art and photographs explaining the art of making this a sculpture. Lori Acott has a book on how she makes Who Rescued Who, and it's very detailed in terms of the photographs, and I'm happy to share it with anyone. It's a small book, but she goes through step by step how she does her casting, and the possibility would be for us to get her images with her permission, of course, and blow them up and put them on as a backdrop on the walls of the gallery. And then artists, as you I'm sure probably know, they start their sculpture concept in miniature, and which are called maquettes, and they're usually out of clay. And then if they like the way things are going, then they'll do, and I'm cutting it short, but they'll do a larger piece, often cast that larger piece to get a perspective on how it translates and what they might change when it actually gets into being a real sculpture, a bronze or an aluminum, whatever they're doing. So I know Lori, for example, Lori is Who Rescued Who. Lori does 18, 24-inch sculptures of that sculpture, Who Rescued Who. She sells them. In fact, we've sold a couple of pieces for her because people wanted them in their home, or maybe they didn't want to pay $28,000 for it or whatever. So it's something marketable from Lori, but artists may not all have that luxury. I know Lorenzo Mills is very supportive of the Yountville Art Walk, and my thought is to talk to him if he had smaller pieces of, or if he would make smaller pieces of the chef, which again would be marketable for him. And he works, his are not bronze, although they look bronze. He works in kind of a plastic material and then patinas it. So it might be something easier he could do. So it wouldn't be just Lori, but
don't forget Dale's pieces.
Dale Rieger does smaller pieces. Even a tall piece of Dale's could go in the gallery. So it'd be kind of a combination. And again, it would totally support the theme for the Arts Up and Stroll event. We've also talked about maybe just doing it for a month. The only difficulty with that is we will have expenses because we would be blowing up photography, and we would, depending on what, well, I don't know, there may be some other expenses. So that's the concept for the gallery and the poster. And of course, marketing, Noelle's the expert, and we'll be working a lot on that. My hope, and Steve, you might comment if you're there, that maybe some of the budget could actually come out of the art fund for the gallery in order to present another marketing aspect of the art walk and promote the art walk in town.
I mean, that would be an action that you all would have to take. Sam and I could work on it, but depending on what all's involved,
Right.
I would need to know more, but it's certainly not beyond the realm of possibility.
Super. So if you like the idea, let us continue moving in that direction, and getting the gallery show together is probably a very important component. We'd like to have Michael Aronson create the poster design and kind of the image as we did last year. And I think Sam, I don't even know what he charged us, $500 or some ridiculous amount of money, ridiculously low for all the work he did on that. So we'd like to do that again this year and get him maybe moved into position. So there's a lot of work for us to do on this, of course, but that's where we are. Noelle, did I forget anything?
No, you covered it beautifully. Basically, it's just really a multimedia event in there, mixed media. There'll be sculptures, there'll be photos. We'll be presenting what it takes to make a piece on the art walk. We'll open it up to any of our artists who are interested in participating with a smaller piece or a presentation such as Lori's, possibly a timeline of the art walk when it started 12 years ago. I mean, we have all kinds of opportunities, and I think it really supports having the art walk as the poster and the face of Art Sip and Stroll this year. And it just seems, when we thought, as Rhonda said, when we thought about artists, it was really hard after Guy Buffet. He so represented Yountville in terms of his just his joie de vivre and everything, his food and wine, that the next thing we came to after looking at many artists, and there's a lot of fabulous artists out there to be in the gallery, but we just thought, what would better represent Yountville than our art walk? So that's how we landed on that, and it's being massaged at this
Right.
point. A lot of thought.
Jim might have the same question that I do. Jim, go ahead.
I don't have a question. I have a comment, which is
Okay.
about the poster. I like the idea of a handful of 4 or 6 different sculptures with maybe different colored backgrounds. What I don't like is the idea of 9 or 12 or a big grid of sculptures on a poster, because I think the individual pieces get lost when you minimize their size. So
we were really inspired by magazine covers when a certain issue of a magazine comes out, and they'll have 4 different covers depending where you live in the country. That's pretty much what got us started, really, with one poster, but doing 4 different faces of it with different pieces on it, maybe more. We're not sure yet, but I know that, I mean, that's an idea we like too, very much.
yeah, okay, thank you.
And we're going to keep it open. I think we're leaning that way, Jim, but we also want to talk to Michael and get some input, some creative input from him.
Judy, you're next, and then Kim.
So I just want to say, and I'm sorry, since I had the surgery, I wasn't able to go to this meeting, but there is some technology that I would like to discuss with you ladies, and maybe we could bring it up. You've seen it on wine bottles where you can hold up like a camera, like a QR code, and it comes to life. So like with Jim's idea of having, too much going on the poster, maybe each artist would have their like 15-second video. And it's not something that everybody has to see, but you can see it as you want. And we can talk about that further, and I can bring some examples of it. It's not that expensive, and it's really pretty effective.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow.
Okay, and Kim, there you are. People move around. Kim.
I know, I don't know why. I like Judy's idea. That would be a really cool feature for in the gallery, to be able to have something like that. My 2 cents is, I love the idea, of course, of the art walk and featuring our art walk artists. My 2 cents is just that I'm sure we could charge the $35 that we were charging this year for entry without having to justify that by having a poster. I just don't see, we didn't sell many posters. We gave away a bunch of posters, but I think we could charge $25 without the expense of all the posters.
But the
You're absolutely correct about that. The posters were a marketing tool. The posters were the face of Art Sip and Stroll. So when you saw that poster in all of our advertising, when it was pushed out in emails, you always saw that face. It was the face of the website. There was a continuity. And
but you could use the image without printing posters that nobody buys.
But the philosophy with the posters, Kim, they only cost us about $3 per poster. But we added $10 to the cost of the ticket and gave them a poster. So we sold 600 of them because that's how many tickets that we sold.
Well,
Nobody
we gave them away. But
pardon me?
We gave
We
them
didn't
away.
give them away because it would have been $25 without the posters. So we added 10 so that we could make some money from the poster on the ticket price.
For the wine
6
Yeah,
of one,
it's-
half a dozen of the other, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
it was a big expense and we didn't sell very many others. I'm just saying, I think you could
Yeah.
charge $35 without giving them a free poster. And actually maybe have a profitable event.
Yeah, I think
Just my thought.
we should look at that when it gets closer, I think, and we start.
Yeah, I know you will.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point. Robin,
I do like,
a human hand.
Well,
I do
and
like the
you
idea.
can, oh, go ahead. Robin.
If we were doing posters, that there is an assortment, but then because I was at the registration table, I can foresee people being like, but I want the one with the picture of this. So we'd have to do, like, here's your poster, don't come back. Figure something out.
We'll have a separate station for trading, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like an immediate eBay, you just go over there.
But
Jim,
at the
did
very least, I mean, you can do a very small run. So even if you don't give them to people who come and get their wristband or whatever, you're still going to need some posters for publicity around town and in some places. So I mean, Rhonda, you can do 600 posters, or you can do 24 posters, right?
That's about right. Yeah.
The cost was very marginal.
Yeah, the cost was $3
Right.
with the tube, including the tube.
Okay. Like the
And
two.
we took in 10 on the ticket, which was a nice profit. 600.
And
have
all the tube stuffing was done by our commissioners.
Fingerprints
Rob-
to prove.
No labor charges.
That's right. Robin's already thinking of a slogan for stuffing our tubes. But I have a procedural sort of question because it seems like there is an overlap in terms of function of committees, and I don't want to violate the Brown Act by having like the Art Sip and Stroll committee is now sort of overlapping the gallery committee and the art walk committee. So just in terms of like how this works, I don't know if Sam or Steve wants to talk to, or maybe Sam,
I would just
guess-
suggest that the chairs, share information and obviously the things that you're going to be voting on at the meeting, you shouldn't be discussing outside of your subcommittee. But if it's just information sharing, because of course, marketing and PR kind of overlaps with everything that we do.
right,
I think it's most beneficial to have, the chairs discuss action items and things like that. That would be my suggestion.
Well, I also just want to be clear on which balls is in whose court. For example, like the gallery, with Jim heading up the gallery, the committee, like what's going to be on the walls. Like, I mean, Noelle might have the vision of a timeline, but Noelle actually is on the gallery committee. So does she go through Rhonda to talk?
Let me
Jim,
help.
or-
You're adding some complexity that you probably don't need to, Cynthia.
Okay, thank you.
Part of what I would say though is you do need to think about a little bit of, but that's who you're assigning stuff, because in some cases this is where there is an overlap. So for example, if you are talking about an art sip and stroll that takes on a greater role, just like it did last year with the Guy Buffet, that overlapped and morphed. So I think to Sam's point, part of this is identifying the focus. The fact that Art Sip and Stroll ends up having the art walk, artists and stuff in the gallery ends up being coincidental, if you will, to the delivery of Art Sip and Stroll. So that would be a unique installation for the gallery, is how I would look at it. And then you have your marketing happens to market everything. And what you're seeing right now is some of the parallel discussions. So, I mean, but what I would also say is chatting with Sam and I, if you ever have questions as committee chairs, will help you. But I also, part of what we try to do is not make this overly bureaucratic so that we Yeah, and especially at a committee, what I want to remember at a committee level, it's one thing for you to be working and sharing some information. As Sam was pointing out too, it's really going to be coming down, did 4 of you get in a room and decide that this was the way you wanted to do it, regardless of which committee you were on? That's how I would give you the litmus test. So if 4 of you are in a room, that's a majority of your 7. If I'm doing my math right, yeah. So, so if that's a simpler way to help guide you in that discussion, that's how I would look at it.
Okay, so for example, if so some subcommittee is going to be tasked with approaching the sculptors in order to say, okay, we've already talked about Lori Acott, we've talked about Lorenzo, and so Art Sip and Stroll is sort of taking the lead, right? And yeah, and then approaching those artists and deciding, and then
could be, or Cynthia, to that point, if they say, hey, we need some people to volunteer to help make phone calls to the artists, that can be okay. See, that's I know I want to come back. It's when you're making a decision. In other words, when you're talking about accepting the sculpture, perhaps the format, but once you've decided you want to do this and you need to execute and you need people to help do that, that's where there's some differentiation. So, does that help a little bit? So that
yeah. So Rhonda can, so they can assign 3 sculptors from the Art Walk to each one of us, and we all contact and get information and say they're available, they're not, they are interested, they're not interested, they, they have these photos, they don't. Yeah.
Yep, that's not a Brown Act violation. It's the decision making that is the act that you do. Think about what you vote on.
Gotcha.
Cindy, the other, just a reminder that the Art Sip and Stroll, Noelle and I had this idea about how to handle the gallery. And the first people I called were you and Jim to discuss it, which I think echoes what Steve and Sam are saying.
Right.
And the crossover between marketing, as Steve points out, who is really part of everything we do, I find really helpful, particularly pushing through on Art Sip and Stroll, because Noelle has ideas about promotion and so forth. She goes back to her committee. I have ideas on behalf of the gallery and on the Art Walk. And so I think, at least from my standpoint, I feel like I've kept you folks informed.
Yes, I think that's the way to do it. I mean, I just see a lot of work and want everybody to be involved instead of just, like making it too narrow. So,
but also in a case of, this is just my feeling. In the case of the Art Walk, we have certain commissioners that have very personal relationships with many of the artists and are very familiar with everything. And for ease, when some of our artists get a call from someone they know is going to be a lot different than if Rhonda said, here, Noelle, you take these 3 artists, give them a call. My feedback to Rhonda would be, Rhonda, I think it would probably be best for you to reach out to them. Or just whoever on the art commission knows them, or if I think the people on our gallery and art walk committee have a good sense of the people they're working with, and they also have a good sense if they want to say, hey, Cindy, this person's really great, just say you're working with us, you're the commissioner of the, you call. I think there's lots of opportunities, but I think the first place I would look is to those who have the good relationships or the knowledge of the committee that they're on, rather than being just having everybody. I'm sure if any one of us was overwhelmed with work, we would be happy to reach out.
Yeah. Well, I think, I think that's my point is, we all will be able to help, because I think it's a really great idea. And I think that it's exciting that we'll all kind of get to, work together. I mean, from every committee.
And it's sharing ideas, just like I said, hey, a timeline could be it. Okay, so I threw that out there. Now I'm stepping back. Jim might like it, Rhonda might like it, you might like it, you all might say, what was she thinking? But I had the opportunity to throw my idea out there. And then basically my feeling is it goes to the committee to really decide, unless I feel so strongly about it, I might push a little harder. But I know very often
which committee?
a timeline. That was just an example.
No,
When I
which
said,
committee?
oh, a timeline in the gallery might be fun for the gallery show.
No,
on
no,
Arts
I
Up and
understand what you're
Stroll.
saying, but when you say I have an idea and it goes to a committee,
It goes to Art Sip and Stroll.
right, which is your committee.
No, but no, the point I was making is it really has to do with those of you in the gallery too.
Well,
Because you're mounting the show in the gallery. We have ideas, but we don't dictate what you do in the gallery.
well, okay.
Y'all have
This
to work
is-
together on those decisions.
Which
Yes.
we do.
Yeah.
We did last year
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah,
There was
we did.
nothing that was done. I know everything that we did, we always made sure that all the different committees were aware
And
before.
Jim also.
And Jim primarily,
Yeah,
since
Yeah,
he's
no.
on all those committees.
right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did a good job of communicating last year, and there were a lot of moving parts too.
Yeah. And, okay, cool. So now, Sam, performing arts isn't listed on the agenda. Can we talk about it, or?
It is not, it was before, it was number 13 on my thing. It's not on yours.
No.
Not on mine.
That's
Can we
weird.
talk about it under commissioner comments and reports?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's on here as the published agenda, so you can just go ahead and talk about it now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For
Great.
some reason, I don't know what happened there. That's strange. Okay.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
13 as arts Sip and Stroll, and then 14 is staff informational and no performing arts. But Robin,
Well,
would you
I-
like to perform some arts for us?
Sure. Yeah, at this point, that's all you guys need. But I had asked Sam after her vacation if I could find out if you guys, when you roll up reports on a monthly basis prior to meetings, if there's some kind of template. So I want to make sure that I'm, not writing reports that are not with information that Sam wants. But other than one band that has submitted their demo for Music in the Park next year, it's been pretty quiet. I have talked to some locals that are into acting and doing monologues, and kind of explored the idea of in between sets for Music in the Park, maybe providing some kind of drama or entertainment, if it could be 10 minutes or under. But that's been it thus far.
Great.
Yes, we have to get together because we can talk about doing some broad outreach for Art Sip and Stroll musicians, and then Music in the Park too. So
Yeah.
work on that.
I love that. Thank you.
Okay, staff informational reports. Sam, do you have anything?
Template on how
There
people-
is not a template. So we just started this idea of
Hmm.
trying to give more written information in the agenda to
Mhm.
shorten the meeting. So, I mean, for me, it's really just any bullet point updates that, we can provide in a written format, just, basically what you just said. I mean, a good example is like under the gallery subcommittee, I just kind of run the reminders of what's coming up. And then when Jim has something like action item related, then we'll add that in as well. So, we'll I don't have a template. We're kind of figuring it out as we go along. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Super. So Sam, do you have any? I have staff informational reports as my next.
I don't have any.
Okay. Now,
Thank
any
you.
commissioner? Thank you. Commissioner comments or reports?
Rhonda?
I have Robin.
My comment is that, Cindy, your outreach and talking to people about advisory level positions has been great. And I'm hearing so much interest generated. I actually think there's, I've been messaged, there's a few people viewing this evening's meeting, and it's a great idea. And I think there's a lot of people interested in stepping up to assist us and support us. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, really, it's the Kim and the people that wrote our bylaws that sort of, you know, have the foresight to think not everybody wants to, you know, or has the time to participate in the entire commission, since we are such a hands-on working commission. But you know, people have interests in helping you out with performing arts or art sip and stroll or gallery, and and there are also just so many people in Yountville with amazing talent. It's just like, who knew, right? You know, so yeah, I think, thank you. And but it's all of us, so you know, ask your friends. I'm happy to have coffee or a glass of wine with anybody. And it's just great getting to meet people along the way. Okay, is there anything else that anybody has? Okay, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, or should we just stay here?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Judy, and how about a second? Robin. Okay, Sam, I feel a roll call coming on.
No.
No, we don't.
Sorry,
have to-
my dog was squeaky toying, so I had to mute. So we'll just do an all in favor with the hands up for the adjournment. I'm okay. Steve's okay with that, or he'll tell me otherwise later.
We'll have to reconvene.
Thank you,
Adjournment's
guys.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye, everybody.
All. Okay,
Night.
Good
bye.
night.